If you've been in or around art spaces, specifically online, you probably stumbled across a phenomenon known as same-face syndrome. This discourse has been around forever on the internet. Anywhere artists reside, this discourse will always appear, with a plethora of videos and diagrams speaking about this. While a lot of discussion around the topic has been constructive and has actually created meaningful discussions, I feel like the majority of people use the argument of same-face syndrome to dunk on beginner artists or artists with cutesy, anime, cartoony styles. This discourse is especially widespread on apps like TikTok, where art discourse in general is talked about on an hourly basis. Honestly, a lot of discourse on TikTok is literally just based on personal opinion, especially if it's an opinion about art. However, I've seen some actual constructive critiques about this phenomenon, bringing up concerns that same-face syndrome will make characters look the same, or will personally stunt an artist's growth and development with their style. And there are also concerns about how drawing characters with the same face can be quote-unquote unrealistic. The first concern I can understand. However, the face is just one part of the character. While it is an extremely important feature, there are plenty of cartoons and manga where characters are drawn with the quote-unquote same face. However, these characters are immediately identifiable by other features like clothing style, hairstyle, skin color, and most importantly, silhouette. The silhouette is what arguably makes the character definable. It shows personality and it lets you know who the character is. Two characters having the exact same eye or nose shape does not automatically make them look the same, or make the style automatically horrible. A lot of anime styles could easily classify as having same-face syndrome. However, you wouldn't even notice that because the overall character design is what makes the character stand out. Like, you wouldn't confuse Sailor Moon with Sailor Neptune just because they have the same faces. On the topic of artists stunting their growth, bringing this up to someone who is a beginner artist is understandable, and telling someone to branch out with the way they draw faces as a beginner is really good advice. However, I've seen people claim same-face syndrome to artists who have already excelled in their craft and have established a specific style that makes them unique. Yes, an artist who's already skilled can still make growth. However, a lot of these mentioned artists know what they want to draw and how they want to draw, and accusations of same-face syndrome can cause insecurity in some artists, and in some cases cause them to completely abandon their art style or change what made their style so unique. Furthermore, a lot of artists purposely have cartoony, unrealistic styles. These styles are always targeted with same-face syndrome accusations, claiming that this look is unrealistic. But these artists are not trying to be realistic. These artists are purposefully drawing cartoony, exaggerated facial features and aren't trying to mimic reality at all. Seriously, nobody looks like this in real life. Maybe it's because I'm not online a lot, but I've never seen a realism artist get accused of having same-face syndrome. It's always people who aren't trying to be realistic with their art getting accused of this. And it kind of feels like an attack on cartoony styles in general. Artists who are focused on realism should care a lot more about the same-face syndrome more than artists who just draw anime. I, for example, am someone who uses multiple different art styles, all of which could fall under the same-face syndrome. And I've been accused of that multiple times. I've drawn different faces before, and I can still do so if I wanted to. However, depending on the art style I want to use, the faces are the most defining feature of that style, and often the faces are drawn the exact same way. It's one of the most defining pieces of my style, and I've actually practiced drawing these faces a lot. This is intentional. For some people, faces are literally what make the art style stand out from others, kind of like a personal trademark. I'd also argue that most styles that get accused of same-face syndrome don't even have the same faces at all. I've seen this argument used against Dragon Ball, as an example. However, even when their facial expressions are at their most similar, these characters still have different facial features that differentiate themselves from one another, even if they're a bit subtle. Again, this is because of the specific style that is used for these characters. Another example, the art styles of Winx, Sailor Moon, Monster High, and Pretty Cure are all iconic, again because of their styles. Yes, they have the quote-unquote same faces, but it's with purpose. It's one of the main things that defines a specific brand and makes the art style unique and noticeable. It wouldn't look right if the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure style of drawing faces was used for something like Lucky Star and vice versa, because these two styles are already established as their own, the faces specifically making them look unique and identifiable. An artist who draws similar facial features with purpose does not automatically make them bad at art, or means that they're not actively growing. The most important thing that needs to be said here is that art is subjective. There are no rules to art even as a beginner. Yes, there are techniques and tips that can be followed and built off of, however, an artist's art is their own. Unless they are genuinely struggling to improve and are looking to improve, if an artist is creating with purpose and has worked hard building a unique style that identifies themselves, then they shouldn't have to completely erase all of that hard work in order to fit into some guidelines someone with too much free time made up on the internet. I've seen some genuinely skilled and amazing artists beating themselves up trying to avoid same face syndrome, and people sending them hate in the comments like it's a plague to be avoided in art. I've also seen people say that drawing the same faces means an artist isn't creative enough, which is probably the most insulting thing you can say to an artist, and comments like these are always used in the most backhanded, condescending way possible. Like, it's as if how much skill you have as an artist doesn't matter if you so dare to draw your characters with similar eye shapes. All the while, the people making these comments probably aren't even artists themselves. Not all artists need to be realistic with their art. Again, there are plenty of amazing artists and art styles out there who have characters with similar facial features, but it doesn't determine if an art style is automatically bad or not. If you're one of those people who send hate to artists with quote-unquote same face syndrome, go pick up a pen, get a brush, pick up a stylus, create your own art. Make the art that you want to see instead of bullying artists into fitting your standards. If you're not ready to do that, then respectfully, be quiet. It's one thing to give constructive criticism, but if you haven't even drawn a stick figure, I don't think you have the grounds to critique an already established artist about their personal style. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like and subscribe button, and you can give me a follow on Twitch where I'll be doing random stuff and showcasing my animation process for my SFM videos. Also, I recently created a Ko-Fi for my commission, so if you're interested in that, go and support me over there, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!